right, good evening. Call this meeting to order. This is the Monday, August 19th meeting of the Grafton Planning Board, a special meeting for the primary purpose of dealing with a decision or a pair of decisions. However, the first item on our agenda, as always, is public input. If there is any member of the public here who wishes to speak to this board regarding a matter that's not otherwise on the agenda, now would be the time to step forward and do that. Seeing none, our action item is two draft decisions, one on a special permit and site plan approval and one on a scenic road permit. Given that the special permit requires a supermajority vote of 4 out of 5, and Prabhu, our currently missing member, has had the opportunity to review the video and thus participate by way of the Mullen rule, and seeing how he's not here yet, we'll, as Joe just suggested, we will take up the scenic road permit first because that requires a simple majority of the board. And so we have a draft decision on the scenic road permit. Is there any items within that that any of us wish to discuss?
Just let me check here. I'm pretty sure that, well, I sent one thing to Joe that I think he's corrected in both drafts.
Just a little bit of messy after copying, pasting. It sort of led to a somewhat incoherent. Sorry, I was just sending probably a text message. Sentence having to do with around these sentences. So I had amended it just to sort of break it up a little bit and make it flow a little bit better. There was various nits, nibbits, little things that both Justin and Dave had also sent in advance.
And I am noticing in the printed copy and the online copy that some of the corrections that had been noted are not appearing.
Which draft is this? The printed?
I asked Natalia to print it out, so hopefully,
And I'm looking in particular at findings 4 and 8.
Let me find it in here.
Because the changed cut and paste, I believe, is included, which was fairly recent, like today.
so Dave, can you remind me what?
In finding 4,
Yeah.
the last line, the word therefore needs an E.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
In finding 8, at the end there's the word, okay, that is correct. Let's see. Okay, so I see on the screen finding 8 has been fixed.
Okay, but the printed version has the I on?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew I had seen something with one too many letters, and
Okay.
when I went
Yes.
back to send it to you, I couldn't find it.
Both the printed version and the one that's
Oh, okay.
on the website still have I on.
Yeah, cause, okay.
Oh, yeah, cut. Yeah, it does have it.
Trying to think as far as. Okay, so Prabhu said he's here already, so he must be just walking in. I'm trying to remember, David, because this is the version I had been working on. I did forget to add the E because that came across in a separate email.
That was very late Friday afternoon.
So this version that I have on the screen should have all of the comments that you had submitted, Dave. But there was an underline or there was a underline under 6.f that was corrected.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so what's the desire of the board?
yeah. I move that we vote to grant the scenic road permit. Did this have to be read in, by the way? Was this,
That was part of the joint
It
public
was,
hearing, and
okay.
we've closed the public hearing, so it's
Okay.
just deliberation on the decisions.
okay. I vote that we
Move.
move that we approve the scenic road permit
Would-
and instruct staff to deal with what they do for this.
Are you including with the,
With,
Noted.
with the noted amendment, with the noted changes.
second?
All right, moved and seconded that the board approve the scenic road permit as drafted with the corrections noted during this discussion. Any further discussion?
Oh, sorry, you need to also amend it to, unless he comes in right now, just strike language indicating that Prabhu was current and submitted a signed.
There's no need for that. He's just not voting.
Here it comes.
Okay, well, no, I have it in the decision,
Right, it's,
that an exhibit for Mullen,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
so, but
He's here.
we'll be all set.
And Prabhu is delivering the Mullen certifications. And is,
So the motion stands.
the motion stands.
There we go.
The decision, just a few nitpicky corrections. There's a motion on the floor to approve the decision, the scenic road permit, as drafted with the corrections noted by the board. And the draft does reflect your participation by way of the Mullen Rule.
Yes.
So, any further discussion on the motion at this point?
I don't think so.
Okey dokey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare that motion carried unanimously. And now we can take up the special permit and site plan approval. And in addition to any edits that may have been submitted by board members to staff by email late last week, is there anything?
I had two little things that I sent. Well, one little thing and one we need to talk about.
Yes.
On finding 11, as an electrical engineer, it's going to generate 4 megawatts of DC and 4 megawatts of AC. No, it's going to generate 4 megawatts. And they're going to start off as DC and become AC as they go to the grid, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so we'll generate,
Because if you can get 8 megawatts on it, that'd be really.
so should I just
I don't know what to do.
delete that and just say we'll generate 4 megawatts and consist of approximately,
That would be, yeah, good solution.
okay, it's always good to delete.
Because it probably, if it makes 4 megawatts of DC, it probably makes slightly less. Well, I don't know. The losses will still be made. They'll just be lost when they convert from DC to AC.
Yeah,
There's always losses.
Yeah, I think it seems to me like it's been fairly customary just to specify the megawattage without specifying AC or DC, with the understanding that, you know, the rate, the nameplate rate is usually the DC, and then when it's converted to AC, it ends up being somewhat less, but I don't recall that in the past we've
Yeah, I would agree with
distinguished,
that. I
but-
think National Grid looks at it as a 4 megawatt AC system. The DC size, they could honestly care less about.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're looking at getting 4 megawatts AC out,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that's the best way to characterize it.
We're interested though in how much you're making, because if you're making more, that's a bigger thing, and, you know, I don't know. You could be making 20 megawatts and only delivering, 4. Okay, so, and
That
the other.
was one. That was number one.
Yeah, and the other one that I had was standard condition 4, and I wanted to understand, normally, we have I think normally we have a bonding or some sort of a provision that would pay for removal, if it wasn't done, by, the permittees. And here we have notice of change of ownership
Yep.
shall be sent, oh no, that's not,
It's, I mean,
I think that was the change of ownership. Do we have
I
bonding in?
think you're talking about 6.
Probably,
Don't do
I
that.
typed it wrong. I must have typed it wrong, yeah,
It's right here. So, and with assistance from town council that on other solar facilities, when the question got asked, well, if we have to with the private, this is say the entity that's constructing the solar field, if they have a agreement with the property owner to remove as part of a condition of a lease, and this most notably was with 207 Providence Road. We had checked with town council and said, well, it would be repetitive to then also require a bond to then go onto property when there's a mechanism, a legal mechanism for the property owner to force the removal of the equipment. So I put in number 6 as sort of a hybrid that basically says, prior to issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide the planning board with documentation of any agreement between the applicant, National Grid, and I really should say like and/or the homeowner, because National Grid is coming on at the end. So this is really between the applicant and the property owner. That includes provisions for the eventual decommission and abandonment of the solar electric generating facility to cover the cost of removal and remediation of the landscaping. If they can't provide that agreement and documentation to us, then we require the bond. In consulting with town council for past solar approvals that we've done, we've actually not required a bond because they provided that documentation. If you may recall, I think it was 207 where they provided almost a redacted agreement that basically identified, here's a provision that basically says in this lease agreement, we have to remove this if X, Y, and Z happens.
okay. Was that in what I looked at over the weekend?
Yes.
Then I missed out. I looked at the change of ownership and didn't, okay, no problem.
Yeah, the change of ownership is standard condition 4. and This is conditions 6 to be met prior to start of construction.
Just so
Okay,
you
so
guys
yeah.
were on that item, when I negotiated the lease with the Padulas, it was a 3-way arrangement with National Grid, myself, and the Padulas, that, you know, National Grid and the Padulas attorneys worked together to negotiate the lease, including a provision for removal, or renewal of a lease, or, I mean, it's one of the longest leases I've ever dealt with. And then they just took out National Grid, put in industrial engineering, and then when I finish my mechanical work, National Grid takes that over in that exact form, just to save time later with negotiations. So it already has, the lease was negotiated as though National Grid was the tenant, because they will be in about 3
Yeah,
months.
so that's basically covers both the initial period while it's under construction, and it just moves forward and continues to cover it once National Grid takes ownership.
Exactly, and there's an assignment provision in it that the Padulas have already agreed to, that we can just transfer it right to National Grid with a quick, paperwork and recording of it at the deeds, and then it'll be.
Yeah, so as far as the potential decommissioning, the lease as it's currently negotiated covers that both
Yes, it does.
now and for the foreseeable future.
Yes, it does, and I'll bring a copy in.
And that's what that condition section Joe was mentioning is anticipating is, that documentation should meet our requirements for ensuring ultimately that if it ever does have to be decommissioned, that can happen.
Exactly.
Is that
Yeah,
pretty much
no,
what we're looking for?
I managed to miss.
Yeah.
That's the hazards of not having paper. One of the many.
Sometimes.
One of the many.
Yes. All right, is there anything else that the board wishes to discuss or suggest a change to this special permit and site plan approval?
What motion would be in order, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I venture to say the chair might entertain a motion to approve the site plan or the special permit site plan approval with findings and conditions all as drafted with the modifications noted, if any.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declared motion carried unanimously by more than the required four out of 5 members approving.
Well, unanimously, yeah.
And unanimously is sort of
And
obviously,
with 5 people voting.
yes, all 5 people voting.
Uh-huh.
So,
Good. Don't know whether it legally comes before us, but I've noticed that things are getting out of hand again down at the gas station on 140 across from Extra Mart.
the future Apple Gas.
Yes, and I contacted Apple Gas. They acknowledged that they were getting a crew out. I asked for a time. They asked if we had any local people. I said, look in the phone book, because their crews are elsewhere and can't get here within a week. I'll be preparing a notice of violation that will go out if it's not done by the end of this week. So I'm now dealing with sort of the northeast development head with Apple Gas.
It's
So-
still the problem that they can't get people.
They can't get it mowed.
Well, that certainly isn't the building problem.
That shouldn't be
No.
rocket science. So as far as this permit is concerned now, the board has just approved it. It will be filed with the town clerk,
Yep, tomorrow morning, probably around 9:30.
and that will commence the appeal period.
Yep.
And assuming the appeal period lapses with no appeals, it should be good to go.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much.
I
Thank
move
you.
we adjourn.
Second, I'm not gonna second, the chair doesn't second motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded that this meeting be adjourned, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?